Is there any real hope that Joe Biden will have any better luck in achieving gun reforms than his Democratic predecessor, Barack Obama?
I would like to have hope. We continue to think that at some point there might be a turning point in the American political system. But with the U.S. Senate deadlocked as it is, 50-50, and with a whole range of other challenges facing the new administration, including, of course, COVID, and the economic impacts of COVID, it's difficult for me to see this moving now. And again, it's heart-wrenching to say that in the context of what happened in Colorado. One of the things that I think has probably been more of a gut punch to me in the last 24 hours is the assessment that seeing what we've just seen in Colorado with that horrific massacre means that the United States is starting to return to normal post-COVID as people get out and about. But clearly, this isn't just about gun violence. This is about a specific type of weapon, the AR-15, an assault weapon, which was designed for no sporting purpose, for essentially the only sole purpose of killing humans. And the fact that Ronald Reagan had a ban on it, and that ban was allowed to expire during the George W. Bush administration, and there doesn't appear to be the political will to once again ban assault weapons in the United States, is a real indictment on politics in the U.S. today.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, because as terrible as this Boulder shooting was, we have seen a number of these shootings, and it seems like after every shooting, there seems to be this momentum, this push for change, and then it does seem to rapidly disappear. I mean, when you talk about a turning point, if that turning point hasn't already come with these horrible scenes in the US in recent years, how can it...
Look, over a decade ago, you had, the horrific massacre of primary school students at Sandy Hook Elementary School, something that brought the then president of the United States to tears. You've seen massacres in churches and massacres in shopping centers, in schools, obviously. And so in that context, really, this is about the broader political shift in the United States. I think we saw a lot of that take place in the election last November. We saw it in the shifts in the Senate in January. So at least we can talk about this now. Had those two key Senate seats in Georgia not flipped to the Democratic side, it wouldn't even be an item of discussion. But the longer-term demographic shift of the United States and broader public opinion is such that eventually, I think politics will have to follow where the country as a whole is. And the country as a whole, majority supports at least restrictions on assault weapons like the AR-15, which has been responsible for so many different mass crimes in the United States.
Yeah, and look, really disheartening, as you point out, to think that this means the US is getting back to some sort of normal state of being if the massacres are starting up again. Just on another matter, we've had confirmation that North Korea has carried out a missile test. It is the first test we've seen since Joe Biden took office. Do we read much into that?
Yeah, you won't be surprised that a lot of the initial analysis is describing this at a very personalistic level of Kim Jong-un, the North Korean leader, testing Joe Biden. But this was actually part of a military exercise in North Korea, which would have been long planned long before the election. In a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of provocations, this is probably a 1 or 2. It's not good. But it's not something that is fundamentally different than what we've seen before. And I would hesitate to put this in the context of the new U.S. administration. This is an ongoing North Korea's natural process of their own military exercises and preparedness. Obviously, it's in violation of UN Security Council sanctions resolutions. It's concerning for the region, but I wouldn't call it a provocation for this day and age.
Dr. Gordon Flake, appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.